I have a breaking story for you guys. Breaking story out of T-Mobile. Stay tuned for the updates. This is going to be a good one. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. What I have on screen for you guys is an FCC application officially filed on the wireless2.fcc.gov. This is coming from T-Mobile. What T-Mobile is trying to do very aggressively, they're finally trying to get 2.5 as contiguous as possible. And this affects me. Currently, I'm at 80 megahertz. They can't even do that contiguous. They have to split, they have to aggregate two N41 channels to make 80, and that's where they tap out. And there's many other counties like Daytona Beach and parts of Florida, all over the US that are dealing with that. T-Mobile has officially put in applications to work with the companies. If it's a educational broadband radio, whatever it is, they are trying their hardest to make it as contiguous as possible. For me, in my area, it's Sonic Wave. That's the company that has, I think it's C1 through 4, to make it more contiguous, to get me up. I think if they get this through, they're even willing, now hear me out, they're even willing to trade DoD spectrum to make N41 contiguous. So that's crazy if you think about it. They're willing to give up a chunk of spectrum to make it contiguous. Sonic Wave currently, as I understand, has no use for that spectrum today. It's not in use whatsoever. So that would be a plus for T-Mobile if they can make it as contiguous as possible. I've seen coastal Miami. I've seen Daytona Beach. I've seen several others where they're trying to make it as contiguous as they possibly can. So they are working behind the scenes. And this makes sense, right? So hear me out. 20 megahertz of DoD. Cool. That's cool to have in your toolbox, right? But what do they have to do with that? They have to deploy it. They got to put radios on the sites that costs capital. That's not deployed today. So what does that mean, right? If they can make 2.5 contiguous, and let's say they can get me from 80 to 140, that's more spectrum than DoD would bring, and it's on a radio that's already deployed. So this is the most cost-efficient way for T-Mobile to get more spectrum on air. So this is a very smart move versus them having to, okay, now we got to deploy capital. We got to buy this Ericsson radio. We got to get the tower crews to put it on our sites. Now we got to get devices that can aggregate this, right? So they're trying to make this as efficient as possible. This whole deployment model, 5G, they are trying to make 2.5 as contiguous as they possibly can across the US. Now, one thing that I was always told in the workforce, if you're a manager, you have to choose your battles wisely. Some battles you're going to win, some battles you're going to lose. And I think that's what T-Mobile is looking at here. They're going to take on all the battles that they can. Some of them they win, some of them they will lose. So in this case, I hope, this is a battle, right? Because these companies might not play ball. They might get it in some areas, in some areas they might not. I'm hoping that in my area it goes smooth. Sonic Wave gives them the C1-4, right? Those blocks. And then I can finally get higher spectrum and faster speeds. I'm hoping that's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk. I'm not saying it's a done deal. That's why I said at the beginning, stay tuned for the updates. I'm hearing there's going to be a more detailed report on this on Reddit. I'll link you guys to that as well. Make a follow-up. But this is a big breaking story. This would be huge for a lot of areas where Verizon does have, 160 plus the CBRS, right? So from a speed perspective, right, if we're just talking raw throughput, high peaks, T-Mobile, they just don't stand a chance. If they don't get this Sonic Wave contiguous, right, and it stays like it's been, 80 megahertz, N41, T-Mobile doesn't stand a chance. They'll still be good. They will still be plenty fast, but they can't, on the median downlink, they can't touch Verizon. Verizon is 160 with their own backhaul plus eventually the CBRS is going to NR. I mean, there's just no way. They just couldn't beat them on peak speeds. And that's already the case now. It's going to get worse in the future. So if T-Mobile gets this, right, they get up to 140. They got, I think, 40 megahertz of C-band, if I'm correct. That's more of a level playing field at that point. That's, you know, with the AWS, the PCS that they have, then T-Mobile can compete much better on peak speeds in this market, or capacity throughput, period, and even maybe go for more FWA customers. Quite possible. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.